Hey coders, how's it going, guys? So today we're gonna be trying to solve four SQL and Pandas problems. So we're gonna see actually how we can go about this, right? So the first problem will be around the monthly percentage difference. So we are given the table of purchases by date. So this is the table here. It has an ID, created date, it has value and purchase ID, right? So our goal essentially is to calculate month over month percentage change in revenue. So we need to understand that what is the percentage change in revenue based on this column of value. So that's the task. So the output should include the year, month, date. So in this case, we can see that the created date is 2019-01. So it's a year, month, date, a day, and date. So in our case, we just have to retrieve our year and month. So a percentage change rounded to the two decimal point. So our output should be rounded to two DP and sorted from the beginning of the year to the end. So this is the formula that we are given for the percentage change. Okay, so how would we then approach this, right? So because we are told that we want to calculate month over month percentage change, what I like to do is that I like to break down the problem into small pieces, right? Even if these pieces they don't make sense yet, this will actually help us as we go through, because we're gonna have to combine all of these pieces. So the first piece that I'm thinking of right now is that we know that we have to calculate month over month percentage. So how about then we try to get a month column, right? Because it's gonna help us somewhere somehow. We're gonna see how it does that, right? So the second thing that I wanna do is that because now we're gonna be having a month, we can actually try to group by the month, right? Because we my thinking is that okay, maybe probably we have values in our table and those values are inside one month, right? So you want to make sure that you have all the values in 1 month, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna say the step 2, we want to group by month. So the goal here is that we want to make sure that if there's multiple values or revenues occurring in the data set, and they're occurring on a day basis, then we're going to group them and make sure that they are occurring on the month basis, because of the goal is to calculate the month over month percentage. Okay, then what we do is that now, because we have this value that we got here, we can actually try to create a new column, right? So by creating a new column, I mean we have the column of value. We can create another column of value again, because remember that you want to calculate a percentage change in revenue. So a percentage change in revenue is that you're gonna take the previous month revenue, this month revenue, and the previous month revenue, then you're gonna divide by the previous month revenue and multiply by 100. So what I'm seeing here is that because we only have one column, you might actually want to create the second column with the same value so that you can be able to get the previous month value, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna say create column value. We can actually duplicate it, it's fine. However, we're gonna come up with a trick. A trick will be we're gonna use probably time series techniques. We're gonna use things such as PCT change. I don't want to introduce this type of concept because they might be confusing for now, but there are certain concept in time series such as rolling. Essentially is like you're rolling the current value to the second value, something along those lines. But we're gonna use a technique or a function in Pandas called shift. So it's gonna take this value, it's gonna push it to come here, this value is gonna come here. So this way we know that the previous value will be here, so this value will be here, something along those lines. But the point here is that now we're gonna have current value and previous value on the same row. So now our formula will work fine. Okay. I think the last steps, we're just gonna tidy up most of the stuff, but we're gonna think about a lot of those things at the end. But for now, let's just try to uh, uh, get this thing out of the way, like all of these core component I meant to say. So we're gonna take our data set, which is called SF transactions. Then, like I said, the first step that comes to my mind is to create a month, but there's a cache. So what happened is that this column might not be a date. So just for our safety, I'll say, how about we make sure that that column is actually a date. So we're gonna say created add, I'm gonna say pd dot to date time, to date time. Okay, then we're gonna take our table, which is called SF transactions, transactions. Then what you want to do is that we want to take the same column and we want to convert it to date time. So this is just to kind of like get us to make sure that we're working with date, because we want to manipulate this and get a month. So if it was not a date, then we're not going to be able to do that. So now, because we know that this is a date, what we can do is that we can say month equals to, I'm just going to copy this, SF transactions. Then we're going to take the column created at, because we want to get a date from there. So we're going to say dt dot to period month. Okay, so this is what we're gonna end up actually having. So you see, we have our month 2019-01, 2019-01, 2019-01, something along those lines. Okay, so what do you want to do now? We said that we want to group by month, so that we believe that, for example, here you see it's 01, 01, so we want to make sure that you get the values for each month. So let's do that. So in this case, you're gonna take SFS transactions and you're gonna say equals to SFS dot group by, group by, we're gonna group by the month column that we just created. Then what we need to do is that we need to get the value, which is also known as revenue. Then we're gonna aggregate this just to get the sum. Okay, so let's see how the table looks like. So we have something along the lines, right? So these are the values, and they have been grouped by a month. So all I want to do now is that I'm just gonna say as indexes equals to false, as index s index equals to false, and run this because I wanted to see that month, right? So now it makes sense because I can be able to see that, okay, for this month, this was the total revenue and stuff like that. So now our work is easier because, like I said, we just need to duplicate this, put it here. But we're not gonna just duplicate it. We're not gonna just duplicate the value, the column. Instead, we're gonna try to roll it over. So by roll it over, I mean we're gonna do something along the lines of saying transaction and saying previous value, right? It's gonna be equals to SFS transactions. Then we take the current value. We just need to apply the function called shift. So this is gonna shift the current value to the next row, right? So let me just show you what I mean. So it's an easy function essentially, but the purpose of us doing this is that we can be able to have the month and the last revenue on the same row. So this is what I'm talking about. This value came here, and this value was here, and this value was here. So as you can see now, we have the previous value on each row. So now it will be easy for us to actually be able to calculate month over month percentage. Okay. So one thing that we're gonna do, I think, is to actually apply this formula. So it's gonna be SFS transactions. Let's call this PCT change, and we're gonna say equals to SFS transactions. We're gonna then let's see, we're given the formula, right? We're gonna take this month revenue, so it's gonna be value, right? Oops, we subtract by the previous month, which is, we called it previous value, prev value, and we're gonna do a division by the previous value. Okay, so it's gonna be something along the lines of prev value. Okay, so I think we just need to make sure that this is definitely in bracket, and we just put everything inside a bracket. Okay, so I think one of the things that were raised was that we should round the final result to 2 decimal point. So I was thinking actually we can do this now, but before we do that, let's just let me do this. Let's just multiply this by 100 first, and I'm just gonna do this and this because I want to round the value to 2 decimal point. Okay, looks like it worked. So this is what we have. So this is called the PC change. So the last thing that we need to do is that we are told that sorted from the beginning of the year. So I think our results are sorted, so we good there. They say that percentage change. Okay, I think this is important. The output should include the year, month, date, and percentage change. Okay, so which means that we just need to say month, right? And we just need to say PCT change. Oops, I think we called it PCT changes. PCT change. Oops. And let me run this. Let's see, we have 2015, 2016, 2017. Yeah, I think this is what we have. uh Not sure if I made any mistake. Yeah, actually I think, yeah, it worked, so we're able to solve it. So I hope guys and we're able to understand this. I'll post the code in GitHub so that if you get stuck you can actually reference this. Thanks for tuning in. So check the next video. I think we're going to be solving an SQL problem.